I'm Phil Moeller. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. So the first decision is for somebody who's nearing the age of 65 at work and they do plan to retire when they turn 65. So in that situation, the first thing I advise people to do is sit down with their employee benefits department and find out if they have any kind of retiree coverage that's going to kick in when they retire and leave their active employer group coverage. In many cases, they may have some retiree coverage. They need to understand this because even if they have retiree coverage, they still might need Medicare to provide full coverage of their health needs when they retire. In some cases, a retiree program can provide secondary coverage, and so they would need to get Medicare and they'd use the employer program as secondary coverage. So in a lot of situations, of course, there is no employer retiree coverage, and you pretty much are going to be relying solely on Medicare. In that case, as a new enrollee in Medicare, you will have a 7-month initial enrollment period that begins 3 months before your 65th birthday month and then extends 3 months past that date. So you have a 7-month period to sign up for Medicare. Complying with this enrollment period is important because if you're late in that, you might face late enrollment penalties. They can last the rest of your life, and you really don't want those if you can avoid them. So that's really important, but it's not nearly as important in my view as making sure that you have continuous health coverage. So as an example, say you lose your employer coverage at the end of June, you still have several months to sign up for Medicare, and you say, I'm within that initial enrollment period, I'm fine. But you're not fine because you might have a lapse in your health coverage. So I advise people to find out again when their employer coverage is going to end and make sure that they enroll in Medicare early enough so that they don't have a break in coverage, because that's the thing you don't want. I would always err on the side of making sure that you have coverage. The other issue, of course, if you are this employee and you're going to lose group coverage when you're 65, is to make sure you understand the coverage needs that your spouse may have, or perhaps you have a child or more than one child that's insured on your group policy. You're going to have to work to make sure that they're covered when you lose your employer coverage because you're retiring. I really appreciate you spending a little time with me today. I hope I've helped answer some of your Medicare questions. I realize you may have lots of other questions. Medicare can be pretty complicated. MedicareMadeClear.com provides lots of answers to your basic questions. So if you still have them, I urge you to go there and see if you can get the answers you need. Thanks again for spending time with me today.